Hey guys, back for part 2 of my video that I started last week or whatever, the top 20 death metal albums that got me into death metal. Man, amazing response I've gotten. I've gotten got a ton of views, and even 2 people that I wanted to do a similar video have done it. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I like talking about this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Last time, part 1 of that video was the number 20 through, the second half of the 20 albums. This is the first 10. So this is the good stuff here. So once again, I'm going to reiterate it. This is the top 20 albums that got me into death metal. They're not necessarily my favorite to this day. In fact, most of them are. They all have a special place in my heart, but you know how it goes. So anyway, let's get going here. We got number 10 out of 20. We have Mortician, Chainsaw Dismemberment. I bought this, I bought this album probably around 99 or 2000. I think it came out in 99. This Mortician, I was blown away instantly. I kind of started getting into horror movies as I was getting into, extreme metal. So, it was kind of cool because I would listen to Mortician and I would hear, the horror movie samples, and I would go. There were pretty much all movies I was unfamiliar with. I'd only seen the mainstream American stuff. So I got to see a lot of cool horror movies through Mortician. Mortician are fucking awesome. I've never really been a fan of drum machines, but whatever. It doesn't hinder it for me. I can listen to pretty much any Mortician's material to this day, and it's a blast. So also, this is pretty fucking cool. Sometime in May, Mortician, of all people, are actually coming to my city with Drawn and Quartered from Seattle. So Eric Bauer, if you're watching, you probably get to see that show too. Fucking awesome. So yeah. Also, because I'm good at fucking deviating from what I'm doing, I have the new Obituary album playing here. I've been really curious about it. For some reason, I went and bought it. I've only listened to it once. This is the second listen. Just a quick thought on it. It is probably their more Obituary-esque material since, their third or fourth album, but I don't know, it hasn't blown me away yet. It's kind of like ear candy, it is pleasing to the ears, but it doesn't bring me near the same joy as, even something like The Incomplete, or, I don't know, I'll give it more listens before I decide. And also on that note, I was kind of thinking about, doing an actual review for it. Thought it'd be kind of cool to. I've been wanting to do reviews since I was for probably over 10 years. I just didn't know if I wanted to make the effort. I think I have it in me. I'm probably too lazy to do it, but I'm thinking more and more, and I'm thinking about reviewing the new Obituary album as my first review. So I think that'd be kind of cool. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I'm sorry. Number 9 in my top 20, we have Entombed, Left Hand Path. Entombed's classic debut. This was probably either the first or second death metal album from Sweden that I've ever heard. So I loved listening to Entombed and Dismember when I was younger, just because it brought that nice contrast to the American death metal that I was used to listening to. Floridian stuff, Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel. So it was cool because I could tell. I was like, man, this is death metal. This is fucking awesome. But it sounds almost like a different genre. It's just, to me, it sounded so different. Obviously, those bands were more. They had more of a punk and hardcore inspiration, as to where the Floridian bands had more of a thrash influence. And it was cool. Made for a different sound. That buzzsaw guitar and just the outright, just savagery on this album. And this album will cave your head in. Every time. And it's done, like I said, in a different way than the Americans were doing it. Not as technical, but just as pummeling, and maybe even more. That's where the punk influence came in, with the just kind of like I said, less technicality and just more of a whatever. I don't know. Let's move on to the next one. This has been one of my favorite bands for a long time. This is not the first album I heard from them, but it is. I heard it not too long after the first one that I had heard. That band is Sepultura. This album is Arise. The first album I actually had heard from them was Chaos AD. I should probably put that in this video instead, but I don't know. It wasn't too long after that, though, that I heard this one, and this obviously blows Chaos AD out of the water. I like Chaos AD. I don't have a problem with it. It's never going to hold a candle to Arise and anything that came before it, but I think it's still pretty fucking good for what it is. It's the last album from them that I really enjoyed, so don't have a problem with it at all. I'll still break it out occasionally, and it never lets me down. Anyway, yeah, man, Arise. I love Sepultura. I don't like anything beyond... Fuck, I think this is probably it. This is probably the last album from them that I like. A lot of people don't even like this album, and I don't fucking understand that, by the way. I see a lot of people that basically, you know, they cut off after Beneath the Remains. I don't get that at all, man. If you're not giving this album a chance, that makes sense to me. It's awesome. Classic death thrash from Brazil. These guys have been around. They were one of the earlier thrash bands in general. Early 80s, you know, they started doing it. Yeah. What can I say? And that was what? That was number 8. Number 7. Immolation. Failures for Gods. Bought this album at I don't know, I think I bought it at like a pawn shop or something in 99, 2000. This is I think this one came out in 99 also. As you can see, I have my original copy. It's beat to shit. Still have it. Awesome. This album, man, I don't know. It might be because it's the first album from them that I had heard, but to this day, it's still my favorite. I mean, I know, Dawn of Possession is supposed to be your favorite Immolation album. It's just, for me, I mean, I think that album's amazing. It might be a better album than this, but this is still my favorite. I fucking love it. It's just, I can't help it. You know how it goes. Okay, what did I say? 7? I'm horrible at keeping track. Number 6. Lost the case for this years ago. I just have the CD now. Cannibal Corpse, Bloodthirst. Matter of fact, I have shown a version of this. Hold on, real quick. I'm so sorry. I've shown this in another video before, but my earlier vinyl videos didn't get a lot of views, so I'll show it again. I have the picture disc of it as well. I think I picked this up last year. It's not their best cover art, but it's sick and weird and demented as always. This is, man, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say this is George Corpse Grinder's first album with them. I could be wrong. It could be his second. I don't know. I think this album came out in 99. A lot of these came out in 99, oddly enough. So anyways, I think out of the Corpse Grinder material, this is my favorite. I think their last 3 albums have been pretty solid. I've enjoyed them. But I don't know. I think other than like the first 3 or 4 albums, I think this is their best. And it's definitely one of their best. So I think it's top 5 for them. Cannibal Corpse. I don't really need to go into detail. You've heard them. Yeah. Alright, man. Number 4. We have, this is a big one for me. I almost, it's sad that I didn't make this my number 1. But we have Deicide Legion. I'm actually looking, I'm almost second guessing myself. I'm almost wanting to put this at number 2 or 3. But whatever. I'm not going to fucking think about it anymore. I already rearranged the order millions of times. So this is my number 4. We're going to keep it that way. Deicide Legion. I know most people, pretty much any Deicide fan loves. They're either going to go for the first album or this one. I feel like probably more go for the debut, but for me, and once again, I don't know if it's because I heard this first, but for me, this album, I think it's, with an open mind even, I think it's better than the debut. That's just my opinion. And this album, when I first heard this, I had already heard some death metal, but for me, this was the most ferocious, the fastest, just fucking grinding, the most aggressive death metal I'd ever heard. Demented. I mean, it took everything I knew about music, even metal, and just threw it in the trash. Like to me, it just almost sounded like, I remember thinking that it sounded like a thrash band on meth out of fucking hell or something. Like, it's just, I didn't even know what to make of it. Like, what is this? It's just, this album is so brutal, and it's memorable. It's memorable as fuck. Every song on here, every riff, the Hoffman solos, I mean, everything is right where it needs to be. This is how, I mean, it's just one of many examples, but I mean, this is how death metal should sound, man. It sounds like they It's just some kind of weird, just chaos. I'm not so good with descriptions. All right, oh fuck, I'm retarded. That was my number 5. Whatever, you guys ignore the numbers. All right, ignore the numbers. Just look at the albums. I mixed it up. That was 5. This is my 4th. Carcass, Reek of Putrefaction. This is the first re-release after the original pressing. Had it forever. Here's another one that pretty much all these 20 albums that I've shown, they all, kind of the reason I chose them is because they all sound completely different from each other. They all introduced something to me that was new, even after getting into death metal. Each one of these releases, I was like, God damn. I mean, it was coming at me from all angles. Yeah, Bolt Thrower, Cannibal Corpse. I don't have any Bolt Thrower on my list, unfortunately, but all these bands sound different from each other. It's not like, no copycats were happening yet. Not really. So, I mean, this is a band that would go to spawn thousands, probably, of copycat bands. Whatever. It's not my favorite of theirs. I do love this album. It's just so fun to listen to. It's so primitive. I mean, there's almost no technicality on this. It's just a primitive, pummeling, disgusting sounding. Sounds like it was recorded in a toilet. I love it, but my favorite album would definitely be their second album. It's definitely more than this. It kind of took, you know what it sounds like. It took some elements from this, but it became so much more. But yeah, I still get a kick out of listening to this. It's just a fun listen. What can I say? This album came out in what, like fucking, I don't know, like 89 or something. Carcass, I mean, they are definitely one of the death metal, forefathers, really. They were amongst, I mean, they were doing death metal earlier than a lot. I'm not so good with timelines, but yeah, they are definitely one of the first. Yeah. Anyway, number 3, another one that I lost the case years ago, and I've never really seen it for purchase since then. I'll pick it up when I can. And this is kind of an oddball in a way because it's a live album, but it's Vader live in Japan. One of the first death metal albums I had heard, probably the first 5 or 10. Man, I listened to this. I probably listened to this at least between the ages of like 18 and 20. I probably listened to this more than anything. Just the style of death metal that they were doing really clicked with me. Very very thrash inspired. I was into thrash at the time, so that resonated with me really quickly. I loved the anti-Christian lyrical theme, and I loved that they covered bands that I really loved. They'd always cover Black Sabbath and Slayer, and those were 2 big bands for me as a teenager. So I latched onto that instantly, and that it's a fucking good live album, man. If you've never heard it, it's great. I mean, the performance is amazing. It's full of energy. They sound like they're on fire. It's amazing. I suggest listening to it if you haven't. I'm not that big of a fan of live albums, and it's a good one. Number 2. Oh man, these next 2, these first 2 for me are just, God, timeless. This one is going to throw a lot of people off, however. God damn it. I can never get comfortable. This album, this is going to throw a lot of people off. The next one, not so much. I have Morbid Angel, Domination. Had this one forever as well. Alright, here's the shocker. This is my favorite Morbid Angel album. I fucking love this album. I mean, I love Walters of Madness. I actually love everything they did up until Heretic. I didn't really like Heretic, but everything up until that I think is at least 8 or 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10. Flawless albums. I really felt like this is I think this is their 4th album. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, their first 3 I thought were amazing. I love them to this day, almost as much as this. But I feel like on this one, when they really started to. They started experimenting a little, like on the 3rd album, but this one, they just went weird. A lot of the songs in here are just really fast and chaotic and technical, and then some of them are very experimental. I think Hate Work is one of the coolest metal songs ever made. I didn't know, when I first heard Where the Slime Live, didn't really like it, but now I think it's cool as fuck. Just the groovy, slow, catchy death metal song. I think it's a fantastic album. It's hit and miss for a lot of people, I know. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. Obviously, I love it. Number 2. All right, number 1. Goddamn, I should re-record this if I had a fucking... if I wasn't so lazy, but I'm not gonna. So, here's my number 1. This should probably gonna be no surprise. I think I've talked about him a number of times, but it's just, this album is untoppable for me. I don't think anything will ever top it, in my opinion. Obituary, Cause of Death. Oh man, original Roadrunner release, or was it Road Racer? I think it was after they moved on to Roadrunner. Road Racer was Roadrunner. But anyway, yeah, this is my number 1 album. It's untouchable. I'm a big Obituary fan. I really only like the first 2. The 3rd and 4th albums I can tolerate. I got a flag of one of them, but it was given to me when I was a kid. But anyway, yeah. I know a lot of people, any Obituary family is going to go either for this or Slowly We Rot. For me, I've never liked Slowly We Rot better than Cause of Death. It's an awesome album. It's amazing, but I mean, I'm not really a James Murphy fanboy necessarily. I mean, I think he's a good guitarist, but his presence on this album was needed. It's a good album regardless, but he added something to it. It was magical. I honestly, for years after hearing that, I was trying to find, bands that were doing something like that. I really never could. Nothing ever really came close. I just love that, the brutal, Celtic Frost riffs with the melodic guitar work, the melodic solos and stuff. Just really kind of created like a creepy vibe for me. It's just the collision of sounds, brutal primitiveness with this kind of classy melodic, I don't know, would you call it neoclassical? I don't know if that's the term. I'm not a musician. Just melodic, solo work. It works so fucking well. It's like eating a candy bar, it just fucking hits you and you're just happy. I don't really eat candy. I just thought that was a fucking, I don't know why I used that comparison. But anyway, that's it. That's my top 20. If you watched the last one, you saw the other 10 albums. So I didn't want to do... I'm too unfocused of a person to do a video like that all in one run. If you could do it, you're... I don't know if it's ADD or something, but I just can't. I'd be all over the place. If I tried to do this in one video, it'd be like an hour and a half long. But anyways, for those of you that have watched both, thank you, and that's awesome of you. If you're not a YouTuber, feel free to tell me about your top 10 or 20. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether it's in video form or just in print, I will read it and I'll respond, and I'd love to talk about it. So anyways, thanks a lot, guys. I got a lot of new subscribers in the last week. I thought that was kind of weird, but I appreciate it. I'm only in it to make new friends and stuff. It's not a popularity contest for me by no means. So even having 20 subscribers and 5 or 6 were talking to me, I was fine with that. But the more the merrier, and that's all I got. Thanks for watching once again. Let's talk soon. Thanks for stopping by.